everyone. So today we are going to see the lesson life processes. So we are going to see the subheading heterotrophic nutrition. So you might have watched in our previous video the different types of nutrition and how heterotrophic type of nutrition differs from autotrophic and mainly how it differs from autotrophic nutrition. So today we are going to be seeing heterotrophic nutrition in detail. So each organism is adapted to its environment. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of food materials as well as how it is obtained by the organism. As we all know, all of us are adapted to our environment. We can live in winter seasons as well as summer seasons, and our body gets adapted, and the body temperature is maintained in a normal state. If it increases, you know that you have a fever, but usually it is normal. So it is an example of adaptation. So now we are talking about adaptation related to food. For example, whether the food source is stationary such as grass or mobile such as deer, it will allow for differences in how food is accessed and what is nutritive apparatus used by a cow and lion. So as you might know, the cows are herbivorous animals. Like there are three classifications based on the type of nutrition which is followed by an animal. You might have read about this in your lower classes. There is herbivorous, carnivorous and omnivorous. Cows are herbivorous animals. That means they mainly eat grasses and other green plants, mainly grasses. And then you have carnivorous animals like lions. They eat other animals. Then you have omnivorous animals like bears and human beings. They eat both plants and other animals. So cows are herbivorous animals and lion is carnivorous animal. So cow mainly eat grasses and they have certain adaptations which can be used to digest the grasses. So there is a range of strategies by which the food is taken in and used by the organism. So some organisms break down the food material outside the body, then absorb it. Examples are like fungi, which are bread molds, yeast and mushrooms. Others take in whole material and break it down inside their bodies, like us human beings. So what can be taken in and broken down depends on the body design and functioning. Some organisms derive nutrition from plants or animals without killing them. This parasitic strategy is used by a wide range of organisms like Cuscata, which is a plant, and orchids, ticks, lice, leeches and tapeworm. For example, different animals have different body structures. You cannot eat grasses like the cow. The cows are ruminant animals. They have a specialized stomach which has 4 compartments which help them to digest the complex molecules which are present in the grasses. But none of the human beings are adapted to eat them. So the different kind of food taken in depends upon the body type and the functions of the organs present in the body. So now we are seeing how do organisms obtain their nutrition. Since the food and the way it is obtained, it is different. The digestive system is different in various organisms. In single-celled organisms, the food may be taken in by the entire surface. There are 2 types of thinking about the organisms. There are ways to classify them. So one of the ways for classification is single-celled organisms and multi-celled organisms. Single-celled organisms have just one cell. So for example, you have amoeba. They are single-celled organisms. There is only one cell. For many multi-celled organisms like animals, and actually we have so many different cells that make up organ systems and so on. So there is also another classification, that is prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So prokaryotic animal doesn't have a proper nucleus cover, but the eukaryotic animals are covered by a proper layer. The nucleus is covered by a proper layer. So for this, amoeba takes in food using temporally finger-like extensions of the cell surface, which fuse over the food particle, forming a food vacuole. So as you can see here, they are showing in detail the process by which amoeba takes in the food. So as you can see now, this is the amoeba, and this is the food particle which is present outside. So the amoeba can adjust its shape and form small leg-like structures. It is named as pseudopodia. They go near the food and enclose it like this, and it is taken inside the body. So that's how amoeba takes in the food. Again, we are going to see the different organisms like paramecium, which is also unicellular organism. So they take in the food and they break down the complex substances into simpler ones. It then moves inside the cytoplasm. So in case you are wondering what is the cytoplasm, it is this organism. The center black part is called nucleus. The liquid type thing which is present outside is called cytoplasm. So the remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and it is thrown out. So here paramecium, it has a cilia, and the food is moved to the mouth by this method. So first we come to the most important topic. So make sure to learn this well, because this is really important for your exam basis as well. Certainly in your board exams there will be a question related to this. It is a very common question and all teachers love this, to explain the digestion. So let us learn this in detail. So first, before that, we can learn this experiment first. First, you are supposed to take 1 ml of starch solution in 2 test tubes A and B. First, take 2 test tubes and take 1 ml of starch solution, which is 1%, and put it in the two test tubes. So in one test tube, add saliva, that is test tube A, and just leave both of the test tubes for 20 to 30 minutes. Then add a few drops of dilute iodine solution to both of the test tubes. So they are asking in which test tube there is a color change, and what we can learn from this experiment. As you know, saliva is a compound which is present in your mouth. It breaks down the starch into simple carbohydrates like maltose. So what happens is that in test tube A we have starch solution as well as the saliva. In test tube B we just add the starch solution. So the test tube A will be just the color of iodine, and test tube B will be bluish black. Because in test tube A, since the saliva is present, it has many enzymes that break down the starch into similar carbohydrates. But in test tube B, the starch is present. That's why the test tube, the solution in the test tube is in bluish black color, because there is the presence of starch. So now let us go back to nutrition in human beings. So first, the alimentary canal is basically a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus. So as you can see here, this alimentary canal, it starts in the mouth and it travels like this. So first we'll learn what is written here. Then I'll explain you in detail using just a diagram. So in figure 6.6, that is this given diagram, they have given the alimentary canal. So it is divided into many regions, and each region performs a specific function. So we are going to be learning what happens to the food once it enters our body. So we eat various types of food which has to pass through the same digestive tract. Naturally, the food has to be processed to generate particles which are small and of the same texture. So if you want to digest some food particles in your body, they need to be small so that they can be easily digestible. So this is achieved by crushing the food with our teeth. Since the lining of the canal is soft, the food is wetted to make the passage smooth. Like, you don't want the food to get stuck anywhere on the alimentary canal because it will cause a hazard. So when we eat something, we like our mouth waters. This is actually not only water but a fluid called saliva secreted by the salivary gland. Another aspect of the food we ingest is its complex nature. If it is absorbed from the alimentary canal, it has to be broken into smaller molecules. This is done with the help of biological catalysts called enzymes. Saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase that breaks down the starch, which is a complex molecule, to give sugar. As we can see in this experiment, so in test tube A, the saliva was broken by salivary amylase, which is an enzyme. So the food is mixed thoroughly with saliva and moved around the mouth while it is chewed by the muscular tongue. So the food is moved in the mouth because it needs to be throughoutly mixed with saliva. It helps in lubrication. That means it helps in the easy passage of food by wetting it. It is necessary to move the food in a regulated manner. It is necessary to move the food in a regulated manner along the digestive tube so it can be processed properly at each part. The lining of the canal has muscles that contract rhythmically in order to push the food forward. These peristaltic movements occur all along the gullet. As you can see here, while the food moves around, it stops at each of these stations. Like, imagine it's a train and the train stops at certain stations and it waits there for some time to make sure to take in the new passengers. So the same way, the food waits at each of these stations to get further digested. And also the tube of the esophagus, it contains the wall of the esophagus contains muscles which helps in pushing down the food. It undergoes contraction and relaxation, so the food is pushed down. So this process is called peristalsis. So what is peristalsis? The contraction and relaxation of the esophagus to facilitate food down the alimentary tract. So there is also the case of reverse peristalsis, that is, food moves outside the opposite way due to vomiting. So from the mouth, the food is taken to the stomach through the food pipe or esophagus. So this esophagus, it has two names. One is esophagus and one is food pipe. The other name is food pipe. So the stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters it. The muscular walls of the stomach helps in mixing the food throughoutly with more digestive juices. So first, till now, what have we learned? So let us look at this part. This is the mouth of the human body. So you are taking in food by the mouth. So here you have the saliva, and food is broken into smaller pieces by the teeth, and it is mixed thoroughly with the saliva. So salivary amylase, which is an enzyme present in saliva, breaks down the starch. So after that, the food is moved down to the esophagus. As you can see here, it directly goes to the stomach. So just by looking at this, you can see it goes to the stomach. Then from the stomach, it goes to the small intestines which are present here. Then through this, it goes to the large intestine, and lastly to the anus. So let us see this in more detail. So the stomach is a J-shaped organ. So now the food goes to the stomach, and muscular walls of the stomach helps in more mixing of the digestive juices. These digestion functions are taken care by the gastric glands present in the wall of the stomach. These release hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, a protein digesting enzyme called pepsin, and mucus. So the HCl creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of the enzyme pepsin. So the mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of acid under normal conditions. So what are the things that are secreted by stomach? Mucus, hydrochloric acid, and the enzyme pepsin. So next, so you have often heard adults complaining about acidity. Can this be due to what has been discussed above? So as you might have heard, many of the adults, they complain about acidity if they skip meals due to either work or anything important. So what happens is that the mucus layer is corroded by the hydrochloric acid, which causes acidity. There are certain medicines which you might have seen the elders in your family take, like Gelusil or Digene. So these are good medicines for acidity problems. Okay, now let's go back to what we were discussing before. So one thing I want to add is that acidity is becoming very common nowadays among most of the adults. Many have a busy and stressful schedule. So many of these acidity medicines are becoming very popular in the market. So like doctors, they recommend a lot of acidity medicines based on at what level you are in. So it's all due to this reason. So now the exit of food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle which releases it in small amounts to the small intestine. From the stomach, the food now enters the small intestine. This is the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is fitted into a compact space because of the extensive coiling. The length of the small intestine differs in various animals depending on the food we eat. Herbivores eating grass need a longer small intestine to allow the cellulose to be digested. Meat is less easy to digest, hence carnivores like tiger have a small intestine. So I told you about carnivorous animals and herbivorous animals, and they have a special adaptation on how to digest cellulose which is present in grass. So one of the adaptation is that the cellulose which is the small intestine is longer to digest the cellulose. So if we are talking about small intestine now, it is actually really long, but it is coiled to avoid taking too much of space. So it is the longest part of the alimentary tract. So the food has exited from the stomach, and it is regulated by a sphincter muscle which releases it in small amounts to small intestine. So the small intestine is the site of complete digestion of carbohydrate, proteins and fats. It receives secretion of the liver and pancreas for this purpose. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and has to be made alkaline for the pancreatic enzymes to act. Bile juice from the liver accomplishes this in addition to acting on fats. Fats present in the intestine are in form of large globules which make it difficult for the enzymes to act upon them. Bile salts break them into smaller globules, increasing the efficiency of enzyme action. So the most of the digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats happen in small intestine. So it receives the secretion of liver and pancreas for this purpose. So the food coming from the stomach is acidic. So you have to make it alkaline for the pancreatic enzymes to act. The function which is done by bile juice, which is from liver. Also the fat molecules are really large, and bile salts break them down into smaller molecules so that they get digested. So the pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, which contains enzymes like trypsin for digesting protein and lipids, for breaking down emulsified fats. So the walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The enzyme present in it finally convert the proteins to amino acids, carbohydrates to glucose, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So the digested food is taken up by the wall of the intestine. The intestinal wall has finger-like projections which are called villi, which increases the surface area for adsorption. The villi are connected with blood vessels, that is, the food gets absorbed on the villi and they are taken in by the blood vessels, and the blood vessels carry it to all the cells of the body, where it is utilized for obtaining energy, building up new tissue and repair of old tissues. The unabsorbed food is sent sent to the large intestine, where more villi absorb water from this material. So everything else is removed from the body by the anus. So that is also regulated by the anal sphincter. So now we have a short box here, more to know. We'll learn this also. Dental caries, so tooth decays causes gradual softening of enamel and dentin. So when you eat sugary foods like chocolates, bacteria acts on the sugar and produces acid that softens the enamel. So bacterial cells group together and stick together with food particles to the teeth to form dental plaque. So saliva cannot reach the tooth surface to neutralize acid, as plaque covers the teeth. Brushing the teeth after eating may remove the plaque before the bacteria produces acid. If untreated, microorganisms may invade the plaque, causing inflammation and infection. So that's why you should always brush your teeth immediately after eating, so that there is no time for plaque to form in your mouth. So I will take a quick summary of digestive system in the next class. So till then, keep learning this and revise. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye bye.